Kaahumanu had always known the road to becoming the trusted voice in a future king's ear would be rough, but she underestimated just how long and winding it would be, especially for a woman navigating a world built for men. In a land where the patriarchal order governed not only politics but also spirituality, her ambition was often seen as an anomaly, something to be managed rather than celebrated. She sometimes dreamed of far-off lands, places she imagined might grant women more than the role of silent observers. Yet, when she heard stories from John Young, a man who had traveled oceans, she discovered that such dreams were naive. His homeland, though clothed in different traditions and worshipping different gods, was no better. Women there too were expected to exist in the shadow of their husbands, to bow to them as saviors, whether in the islands or across the sea. The divine voices still spoke only through men. That was not the life Kaahumanu envisioned for herself. She was not born to be invisible, and yet, for all her resilience, she often found herself confronting the bitter truth. The new beginnings she had been promised looked suspiciously like the old endings she thought she had left behind. Kamehameha, the man she was bound to advise, was wrestling with his own storms. Confidence had never come easily to him. Beneath the warrior's frame was a man plagued by doubt, unsure of his ability to lead, hesitant to take decisive action. Now, with Kaoa's threat hanging heavy over his lands, the moment of decision had arrived. Should he strike first, or wait and risk being overrun? Moku, ever the strategist, believed in preemptive force. In his mind, if Kamehameha acted first, he could secure his territory's survival. But the odds were stacked. Kaoa's position as king meant his army would be bolstered by chiefs eager to prove their loyalty. Only those still faithful to the late Kalaniʻapuʻu might consider siding with Kamehameha, and even then the risk was great. For Kamehameha, it was not just about winning or losing. He recoiled at the thought of an avoidable war, one born from pride rather than necessity, a war that would spill the blood of countless innocents. This moral hesitation was tangled with something else, the heavy, complicated belief that he might be the prophesied king. That belief had roots in the legend of the Naha stone, a massive volcanic boulder believed to hold deep spiritual power. No man had ever been able to move it, yet Kamehameha, still a young man then, had shifted the rock, an act that many took as a divine sign. To them, this meant he was destined to unite all of Hawaii. Kaahumanu could feel the unrest in him, the way his spirit was caught between destiny and doubt. Her father Moku had arranged for her to marry Kamehameha partly for this reason, to be a voice of counsel in the young chief's ear. But Moku, like so many men, could not resist the conviction that he knew best. His plan was for her to stand back unless summoned. Kaahumanu, however, had never been the sort to obey quietly, so she stepped forward. Against her father's instructions, she went to Kamehameha herself, and when he told her that his gods had fallen silent, she understood him in a way few could. The gods had never spoken clearly to her either. She had learned to listen not for divine voices, but for the quiet pull of her own instincts. Her message to him was simple, yet it cut to the heart of his turmoil. When the gods fall silent, you must trust the voice within you. Faith in oneself, she argued, was as sacred as any prayer, and perhaps more reliable. Her words lit a spark in Kamehameha. He realized that he didn't have to start the war Kaoa seemed to crave. But if battle came to him, he could meet it on his own terms. As a leader touched by the god of war, he was not bound to create chaos. His truer calling was to preserve balance. And in that moment, Kaahumanu's counsel didn't just steady his heart. It shaped the path he would take as a ruler.